Yo, welcome in. Are you an absolute degenerate who's already drafting your underdog fantasy teams and the draft hasn't even started yet? Or maybe you're like me, who's maybe a little bit of a degen, but I like doing the drafts when I'm doing my cardio at the gym. It makes it go by way faster. So I'm really helping my life out, making myself healthier by doing drafts this early. That's the way we can justify it anyways. But if you are, you probably get that last round in the fantasy drafts and you're like, who am I taking here on Underdog? And that's what I'm bringing you right here today. Several guys that you can realistically get with the final pick in your drafts that might actually win the league for you. And if you like this type of content, hey, bing, hit that like button, subscribe up, and get that bell notification turned on. So we're going to take a look at the rankings of where these people are at and who I got. And the very first one we're taking a look at right here, Dontavian Wicks. Now he's like the 4 or 5 there for Green Bay or something like that, isn't he? Well, not so much anymore. It might be listed under here. It says struggle to stand up, but what happened was Romeo Doubs actually left and he went to New England. So he's going to be, one of the starting rotation wide receivers there. So now Dontavian Wicks, is he moving up into the starting lineup? He may and may not. But the thing is these other years, even when they had like 5 different receivers, look at the numbers he put up every year. 60 right here was last year, but that's because they had Watson coming in. Apparently Watson is like got a stranglehold on the number 1 wide receiver there. They drafted Golden, they had Reed, they had Dobbs, they had Kraft, they had that other tight end. They're running it a lot with Jacobs. Well, the thing is with Dobbs gone, Christian Watson, he's not exactly the pinnacle of constant health or anything like that, or consistently getting on the field. So that could really be something right there where he could be probably the wide receiver 4. He's going to be getting some catches, so you never know what could happen. And also, you never know if this guy actually moves into the starting lineup because Watson's going to go down again. Apparently, his ligaments are made of, al dente spaghetti noodles. I'm not even sure. So even though he hasn't really finished a huge up at the top, it's not like he's had a lot of big, mega, huge games. You can kind of look at last year here. They're all just down at a few points, but every once in a while, look at this game, 28 points. Woo, wide receiver 3 on the week. And that's what we're hoping for in one of the playoff weeks or something. You're hoping to get one of these big games. A couple receivers go down. This is the last round. You're not getting guaranteed starters usually. We actually have a few of those coming up in just a second. We're going to move down. He is at pick 232 when really 228 is kind of about the finalish round start. So you can usually almost always get Dontavian Wicks right here. The next one up is a guy that had a down year, but man, you got to think he's going to turn it around. We're looking at Rashad Bateman right here. Now you can see the numbers. He had 152. Everyone thought he was going to have a huge breakout after the year, but it didn't really happen. Did they bring in some huge competition at wide receiver? Not really. They had Derrick Henry run. And for whatever reason, I think he had an injury or two as well. Rashad Bateman didn't quite do it. He's a pretty quick guy and all that good stuff. He's got some measurables. You're kind of looking at the same thing here. He was wide receiver 45 and he dropped down to almost wide receiver 100. That is very, very unfortunate. The thing we're going to look at here is let's look at the game log. And sorry, this is white mode. Let me go ahead and refresh this real quick because for some reason my dark mode sometimes doesn't take effect right away. Did he miss a bunch of games? It doesn't look like right here. I mean, he was hurt. He must have left this game early and then missed the next game. Oh, actually, no, he didn't. He had some targets. So it looks like he just had a crazy down year. But down here, probably being the wide receiver 2 for a team, even though they don't throw a lot. They do run a lot with Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson's going to run a lot, of course. But you got to think that maybe this is going to be year 4, if I'm not mistaken. So usually it's a year 3 breakout too. But this is last round, and he's got opportunity. He has the opportunity to do what Alex Pierce did last year and catch you touchdowns that you really need in a certain point to get you to the championship, to the finals or something. So he's a guy you can look at in one of the last rounds. Go ahead and zoom this out and take a look at the next one. We're taking a look at DeMarcado here at 33, Amari DeMarcado. So why would you want him? The main thing being they got rid of in Kansas City Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. They did bring in Kenneth Walker, but Kenneth Walker was never a huge on the pass catching, I guess. And there is actually other competition for pass catching. What's his name? Smith, 2nd-year rookie. I forget his name. He didn't get a lot of play last year because he was behind the other 2 I mentioned a second ago. But DeMarcado can do a little bit of everything. He played for the Cardinals last year, and after injury, he was getting carries and he was doing the pass catching, doing a little bit of everything there. 27, so he's a veteran presence. So if anything does happen, they can go ahead and bring him in. So he played in 13 games. Not a crazy huge rush attempts there, but receptions for a touchdown. This is the thing. He's always done a little bit. That's what I think he's going to always be doing, just a little bit. Hopefully he gets a little more than last year. You can see he was actually, I believe this was healthy scratch right off the start, but a little more down the stretch here. He was getting some games with some carries, and he was kind of 4, 5, 5, 4 here. But you see the receptions over here, targets and receptions. He's getting a few kind of all over the place here. This game right here with 4 carries, 3 catches for 100 yards, kind of shows what he can kind of do. They didn't bring him in for absolutely no reason. Yes, he's not getting paid a lot or anything like that, but he's going to touch the ball occasionally. Kenneth Walker is, it's hurt here and there. Any running back in the NFL can get hurt here and there. So it's a late round guy that could have an opportunity, who's probably going to touch the ball guaranteed, and could even get a bigger role if a little bit of injury pops up. Next up is Jalen Wright down here at 236. We can take a look right there. Now he plays for Miami, and yes, he's kind of stuck behind Devon Achane. This is true. But Jalen Wright last year got a few carries, and look at the speed scores and stuff. He is one of the fastest dudes in the league with the 40-yard dash, 97th percentile. His workout metrics when he came out, that is 96 on the speed score, and burst score 94. So he is super athletic, super quick. He has never gotten a huge opportunity in his first season here. I mean, he had 68 rush attempts there and 70 here, so it didn't really change much. But you're kind of hoping, you're taking a chance this late that's going to go ahead and happen. So I guess we're gonna have to stick with white mode. Maybe we'll update this one more time real quick. Not sure why that does that to me, but we're taking a look at just last year here, and you can see he missed the first part of the season here. I don't remember exactly if that was healthy scratch or what, but when he ended up coming in here, just getting a few carries, and here's a game, 24 carries. He must have started and played like the whole thing. So he had 100 yards and a touchdown. So they at least gave him a run. They gave him a chance. So right here, he had 9 carries, a catch for 50 yards and a touchdown. Down here, 5 carries for 56 yards. And down here in week 18, 40 yards on the 13 carries. So they were giving him a little bit of a chance. Now this team got rid of Tua, traded away Waddle. Are they going full like tank mode? Are they going to go ahead and trade Achane too if they are trying to like tank for picks and stuff? And he's probably going to dip out if they are going to tank eventually. I think he still has a year or 2 on his contract, but who knows? They can move on from him. He could get dinged up. If he does get just a little bit dinged up, or they get later in the season, it's completely hopeless. They might just sit him down and say, hey, buddy, we don't want you to lose your trade value. We don't want you to get hurt. We don't want you to, activate some injury clause in your contract or something. I don't know that he has one of those, but I'm just saying that kind of thing has been known to happen. So Jalen right here with these measurables, he hasn't shown it yet, but we're taking a chance on a 3rd-year running back here, coming out of college, still young, not even quite 23 years old right here. Jalen Wright is an exciting one. Lottery pick, dart throw here down at the bottom. Now that we're moving on from Jalen Wright, we're going to move on to a number 2 wide receiver for a team that's got an up-and-coming quarterback, and that's Darius Slayton right here. I don't know for sure if he'll end up being number 2. Maybe they'll bring another guy in or something like that, but it's Malik Neighbors, and then they brought in Darnell Mooney, but is Darnell Mooney going to be the number 2 for the Giants? But I'm thinking Darius Slayton here, ADP 236, but you could get him in the final round. Pretty high on the speed scores coming out and stuff like that, but he's always been known as like the deep burner, even though he's not that big. He's a veteran, so he knows what he's doing. He's locked into his role, exactly what it's going to be. He could be outside opposite of Malik Neighbors. Now, he's never really had the hugest blow-up seasons, and he's been in for several seasons. So 8 points a game, 8 points a game, 7 points a game, 7 points a game. Down here, actually, rookie year is actually his best. He was wide receiver 38. He hasn't been able to put it together again since then. But this isn't necessarily going to be somebody that's going to just blow the socks off the door, but this is going to be consistently playing in the game, getting 7 targets, 4 targets, occasionally getting 10, 9 targets, and you're hoping, maybe in one of the final weeks in the championships, he gets you a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2. Here's 9 points for, number 29 on the receiver right here. Here's 14 for wide receiver 19. So it's never any huge games, but we're looking for down here the Alex Pierce game, where he doesn't do a whole lot all season. He has an okay season, but doesn't do a ton all season. Just plays and has a steady season, and then he catches 2 50-yard bomb touchdowns, and he wins you a week. That's what we're looking for here. And Darius Slayton, he's going to be on the field like all the time. You never know if his Neighbors injury prone or did he get unlucky or whatever. We don't know. Darius Slayton's going to be on the field playing, so he's a guy looking for down here in the final round. Next up is another one that should be on the field, and he's always on the field where he goes. He always does something. So we're looking at 238, and we are looking at, I must have overlooked him right here. Mac Hollins for New England. Now, Steph Diggs, he's gone. Who knows if he's ever going to play again with everything going on in his life at this point anyways. But Mac Hollins always gets work. He always gets on the field, always, no matter what. He's never been the craziest, most athletic. He is a little bit on the tall side here with 6'4". So that's for wide receivers. That's pretty much up there. That's the height of tight end, 6'4", 220. I mean, tight end's got a little more bulk on him, but he's right up there. When you look at the seasons right here, he's never has the hugest, highest seasons either. He's had a couple in the 50s, which was last year and maybe a little bit further back, but he always is getting play, and he's kind of like a deep ball type of situation player too. You can look right here, wide receiver 20, wide receiver 29, even wide receiver 50. If you're getting a few points, they can go ahead and fill in. Here's a 24. Here's a 17. Week 22. Well, that was playoffs. Okay, so there's not a lot of wide receivers, but technically he was wide receiver 1 week, huh? But we're looking at more of the regular season stuff, so it's never super high. But there's week 15 or wide receiver 15, excuse me, wide receiver 20, wide receiver 29. That's gonna be great stuff to help you advance, and then hopefully you get some huge game where, like I said, catches a couple of lucky deep bombs or something where he gets like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's always going to be on the field with that opportunity. Teams just seem to love this guy. He must be such a hard worker. He must be a good blocker and everything. At this size, he can probably, when corners are like 5'7", he's probably just bulldozing dudes. Teams love Mac Hollins. They always have him on the field, and if you're on the field, you have an opportunity to get lucky and get a touchdown, even if you don't think the guy's really all that great. So here we're taking a look at now, moving to a running back, and we already looked at one guy from Green Bay. Now we're going to move into another one right here, and we're looking at Chris Brooks here at 238. Now, they lost one running back. I can't remember his name now, but he went to Seattle. It's not important. Just know he's gone. But they still have Josh Jacobs, of course, and they have Marshawn Lloyd, which is actually, he's up a few picks, I think. Marshawn Lloyd has played 2 seasons, technically call it played 2 seasons, because he's actually been on the team for 2 seasons, and he's played a total of snaps in 1 game. And I don't even know that he finished that game. He's just always hurt. Gets hurt in preseason. He's trying to come back from injury, gets hurt again. I don't know if this guy's made of paper mache or what. Marshawn Lloyd I'm talking about, but Chris Brooks right now is always been healthy. And I mean, if Marshawn Lloyd doesn't come back, he's like guaranteed the running back 2 spot. So Josh Jacobs isn't going to get all the carries for sure. Josh Jacobs got hurt a little bit last year, if I'm not mistaken, even though Chris Brooks didn't do a whole lot here with the 27, but the running back that left, Emmanuel Wilson, E. Wilson, he went ahead and left. So there's going to be opportunity here for Chris Brooks. And we can just take a quick look at what he did last year, because he didn't do a lot. A couple of games he played more where he got maybe 8 touches here. Down here he got 13 touches, got 60 yards out of it. So there's not really a lot of track record here that would really tell you a whole lot about this guy. He's been in the league for 3 years here. You can see going on his 4th. He's 26, so he's not, a little scrawny young man, but he's, not the fastest or anything. But he's got the opportunity here unless they draft somebody. So keep a watch on this particular backfield for the draft and in the future. But at 6'1", 230, good size to be bulldozing people. And I mean, Marshawn Lloyd cannot stay healthy. So Brooks is going to end up being like the only guy left there. Now, for the final one, this is the latest one too, and he's actually right here on the screen too. Alamid Zacchaeus, I forget how you pronounce this. Don't worry about it though, because it doesn't matter. Zacchaeus right here, or Zach, we'll just call him, down at pick 239. Now, you might look at this Atlanta. Yeah, he's been on Atlanta for a while. No, he actually went to Chicago, and then Atlanta re-signed him back, which is kind of interesting. But he's coming back to Atlanta, and you bring a guy back because, I mean, you must want him. They obviously have a new staff and everything. They cleaned house. He played back when Arthur Smith was coaching there. Gosh, I hate that guy. But they brought him in to be behind Drake London. Atlanta lost Mooney. Who else do they even have on the wide receiving core there? I'm not even 100% sure. But here's another consistent guy who just seems to always be on the field. 17 games. We'll drop it down to here too. 17 games, 17 games, 17 games, 17 games, 16 games. Always on the field. And it's a guy that teams just seem to love. He must just always do the right things to help the team out and everything. Never the number 1. A lot of times not even the number 2, maybe not even the number 3. But we're taking a look at last year on the Bears, and if you can catch a pass from Caleb Williams when they're sailing over your head all the time, that's pretty impressive, where he's got games where he's got 5 catches, 7 catches right here, almost moving up in the wide receiver 3. Right here, wide receiver 14. If you can get a bust out week like that to fill in for you, excuse me, I didn't mean to scroll down so quickly like that. That's going to be spectacular for your fantasy outlook, especially He's got 17 here. Imagine if he just got a little bit more. Imagine if these two red zone targets right here, maybe he caught another touchdown and you bump this up to where he's like the wide receiver 3 on the week in a championship week. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for guys who have the opportunity. And I think here in Atlanta, whether we got Tua throwing the ball, whether it's Penix throwing him the ball, this guy has an opportunity to go ahead and make something happen for your team. So, hey, you like any of these, or what are your favorite last round picks? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget the like button before you go. Peace out and happy drafting.